Have you ever seen somebody or just observed somebody just absolutely pop off, like they just lose it? And it's seemingly like, whoa, what went down? You know, nobody really did anything to you. Like, it seems disproportionate to the actual scenario that went down. Many times, if not all the time, that is projection. That is when somebody is projecting how they feel about themselves onto a situation. And the situation is reminding them of how they feel about themselves. And many times when people feel low self-esteem, or they feel low self-worth, or they feel lack of self-love, or they're in a state of lack, or in a state of measuring themselves with lack or scarcity, they will respond pretty pissed off because they're reminded of that. And the situation reminds them of that as well. I'll never forget when there was a student I was working with, and they had an absolute meltdown, 1,000% meltdown, and it was so tough. And it was because it clicked in them that one of their parents had passed away, and they were watching something, and it reminded them of that. It wasn't the thing that happened. It was the memory it reminded them of that they carried. Now, obviously, this was a kid. It was like 8 or 9 years old. And they hadn't processed through that trauma. I mean, I don't know if it's a real expectation to expect an 8 or 9-year-old to process through the trauma of losing a parent. However, they were still dealing with it. They were still going through it. They were dealing with the ghost of that thing happening. Many times we think that, we can compartmentalize that, when in reality, we're carrying that in the backpack. The body takes the toll, and we're walking with it. We are walking with it, and unbeknownst to us, we think that we're good. There's a story of a man who had left the war, and it wasn't until he was, I want to say, maybe half a century past that. He was in his 70s or 80s. He had he just had a meltdown in public, and he started hearing the gunshots. He started hearing the bombs. And he had to be taken to therapy for PTSD. And he had thought, or his family had thought in this story, that he had, he was okay. And he wasn't. And the reality is that you're probably not at peace with the many things in your life. And we talked about this in the past video, by faith, not by force. And that's a discipline. In being at peace, forgiveness can happen, at a certain point in time, and then we move forward, and we've forgiven that moment. And we still have to come to terms with that forgiveness. What is life like in forgiveness of that situation, that person, or that thing that happened? And I want you to understand that all this boils down to what I'm going to tell you right now, and how to heighten your self-awareness so that you are not commandeered by others outside of you. How to heighten your self-awareness so you are not entirely maneuvered and controlled by others outside of you. Your perception of me is a reflection of you. And my reaction to you is an awareness of me. Let's say that one more time, maybe 2 more times. Your perception of me is a reflection of you. My reaction to you is an awareness of me. Last time. Your perception of me is a reflection of you. My reaction to you is an awareness of me. Let's start with that first half. Your perception of me is a reflection of you. Now we go back to the beginning. When somebody has a meltdown or they pop off, we think, no, this person is clearly losing it, or whatever it is, or they're mad at the situation. No. Their perception of the situation is a reflection of themselves. I had a situation with a person close to me say something absolutely hurtful. It was, sometimes you hear somebody say something and it's like, as adults, it's different than when it was like as kids, and they say it and you're like, whoa, that was mean. Holy shnikes. And it was barbed. It was It was sharpened, it was intentional, it was aimed, it was all these things. It was wild. And I was like, oh my goodness, did they just say that? Wow. And it had nothing to do with anybody. This person was hurting. Hurt people. This person was in pain. And they were projecting that out. Their perception of us was a reflection of themselves. Their perception of the world was a reflection of themselves. When people come from exigent circumstances, they perceive themselves as having to navigate through exigent circumstances. But then if you put them in a peaceful, serene situation, they're still in the exigent circumstances because they're still operating in what they just got out of, what they know. So this person said this wildly mean thing, and the first thing I thought was, I wonder if they're okay. And it wasn't like, yes, I'm on this altruistic high horse. It's the fact that I think I haven't done enough work. I don't know if I ever will have done enough work. I think I was in a very serene place at that time to be able to say, I wonder if they're okay. That sounds like somebody that's hurt would say something like that. So I wonder if they're okay. My reaction to you is an awareness of me. My reaction to that person was an awareness of whenever I said something like that, or I thought something like that, or I've seen somebody do something like that. My awareness of self was, I would say that if I were feeling pretty bad about myself. So I wonder if they're okay. I wonder what happened to them. So to understanding how you can build self-awareness to not let the outside world basically control you. Number one, how do you feel about yourself? I think a lot of people need to ask this question and be honest, just be brutally honest. How do you feel about yourself? Take inventory of all the meritocratic language you make and then give them to yourself. What are you saying about the outside world? When we sit down and we start gossiping with everybody, talking S and trash and stuff like that, really what we're doing is we're saying it about ourselves. In reality, that is what we're doing. How do you feel about yourself? Really, how do you feel about yourself? Are you happy with the way things are going? Are you proud of the way things are going? Are you feeling like things are doomed? Are you feeling like things are looking up? Are you feeling like things are going to stay the same forever? Are you feeling like you have no control over anything? Are you feeling like you missed your boat? Are you feeling like you missed an opportunity? Are you feeling like that opportunity will never show up again? Really dig into this. I want you to start looking at that. Once you start to look inward and say, okay, this is how I feel about myself, this is how I feel about the circumstances, how I've gone about my life, now you can start to take an inventory of everything that's been going on. Oh, that's why I said that. Oh, that's why I did that. That's why I pushed that person away. We had this whole section about pushing people away. When we push people away, we're pushing ourselves away because we don't believe that we're worthy of a certain situation. When we sabotage opportunity, it's because we don't believe that we're worthy of it. Many times we don't lose out on opportunity. We don't lose. We don't fall short. It's because we don't feel that we're worthy of it. And again, number one, how do you feel about yourself? I could go into this for a long time. I can't have this video going over 20 minutes again. Number two, how would you be in the world if you felt differently about yourself? Right now I have down here, if you felt better about yourself, but even that's meritocratic. How would you be in the world if you felt different about yourself? That's the train in the background. Oh, there's a caboose. How would you be in the world if you felt different about yourself? Who would you be if you felt different about yourself? Who is that person? We went back in a few videos ago. We talked about this, dog. We talked about this. Who would you be in this world if you felt differently about yourself? And here's the hint. I'm gonna lean in and mess up the focus here. You determine how you feel about yourself. Yeah, that's real. That's really how it is. You determine how you feel about yourself. yeah, we got the story at the end of this. It just hit me. You determine how you feel about yourself. And the amount of grace, the amount of room, the amount of forgiveness, the amount of time, patience that you give yourself, that's up to you. It's all up to you. 100% up to you. 3, what the F are you trying to prove to everyone? What are you trying to prove to everybody? Is it something that if you prove it, everything will be okay? If you prove it, you'll be valid. If you prove it, you'll be loved. If you prove it, you'll be enough. What are you trying to prove to everybody? And I'm not saying this in a way that's like, you need to stop trying to prove everything to the 3D world. It's like, no, it's more so, I think it's important. You know, for me, it was why as a kid, when I got home from gymnastics, why did I keep flipping around in the living room when like we had company over? Why did I go to recess and like flip around? Why did I do gymnastics in the first place? Was it so I could learn how to do handstands and back handsprings to impress people in middle school? What are we doing here? Now, as a kid, like for me, I can look back and like I can say, okay, you know, there's grace, you know, and we can go deeper with it. What else is going on? And we'll go into that in another video. I think we did a few videos ago when I was crying. But all that being said, it's that what are you trying to prove to everybody? And don't even judge that. Just figure out what the what is. And then once I figured out, I'm trying to prove to everybody that I'm athletic and that I can, here we go. You ready for it? As a black kid, I can flip around just like these white kids in the Olympics. I can do it just like them. And then when I did, and I gone to the gymnastics center, like the other white students in my classroom, all of a sudden, you know, I felt that maybe I get some validation from that crowd. That was deep down, like it's crazy to think and know that. And that was my journey as a kid, man. I actually did that. I actually tried that. I did that. I love gymnastics now for what it is, but I have a different understanding of it, a different love for it, a different way of being in it. But what are you trying to prove to everybody? Last one. This is 4 instead of 3. This is crazy. What is your reaction to others when you have an awareness of yourself? So we take that last part. My reaction to you is an awareness of me. What is your reaction to others when you have an awareness of yourself? When you know who you are? When you have a deep understanding of who you are, your higher self? You in the vortex, as Abraham Hicks would say. How are you operating with others when you have an awareness of you? An awareness of like your gravity and your sense of balance and all these things. What is that? How are you operating in the world? And that's a little backwards from what we talk about here on this channel. It's like, how would you operate in the 3D when you have an awareness of yourself? It's more so when you have an awareness of yourself, how do you operate in the world? But we're gonna rewind, reverse that. Who are you being out there when you have an awareness of yourself? Can you be shifted out of your frame? Can somebody like really knock you over out of that? I don't really think so. I think when you have an awareness of yourself, somebody popping off or having a spat or yelling at you or trying to say something really like hurtful, it's really a really good determinant of it is when you look at the comment section on social media. Anybody who can be jilted out of their frame, they're jumping right in. And it's not that they're jumping right in, they're just like right in the comment section. When in reality, it's like, oh, really, you feel that way? Tell me more. And it's just like, cool. What else? Because what they say has nothing to do with you. How you react to them has everything to do with who you're being. So how do you not let the outside world control who you are? Really, at the end of the day, you determine the rules for yourself, what the grace is for yourself. And the story here is a pretty deep one. I know I've told these stories, I've repeated them a lot, but I hope that, it's not that you watch every video on this channel either, but I was in Detroit with my dad's side of the family, and there was like this glass table. On top of that was like a cloth mat, and on top of that was the food. So I was so confused. I didn't know. I mean, I think I'm 9 or 10 at this time. And I had this shake that was sitting there, and then I had like this plate. And I was like looking at the glass, and I was like, pulling the tablecloth and the glass, and I was like, and then there was a placemat on top of it. So it was like triple. Dog, it was crazy. And I was like, what is this? I was looking around at all this, and I pull the thing, and the shake that I had just went, poured out everywhere. And my dad was so upset, so angry, he was so pissed off. He was beside himself. And, okay, I'm a kid at this point, all right? So I saw his reaction, and I immediately just flooded with tears. And I was like, oh my God, oh no, I'm a screw up. I'll never be anything. And he left to go take, one of the family members home. And I just had this conniption. And I was just responding to the outside world. I was like, oh no, I really am, a failure. I spilled this milkshake. When in reality, wait for it, my father was responding to himself, and probably the way that he was brought up, and probably some pretty tough conditions or critical conditions, and then was that was happening with me. And then wait for it, here we go, we're going to go another step. Can I look back on that moment and have grace for that? Absolutely, yes. The rest of my family members, they made a new shake, and they I think it was a root beer float or something like that. And I had that while he was gone, and then they got back, and then I finished it, and I was like, I felt I was like, I had another root beer float while he was gone. I thought I was slick, and so I was able to look back and give that whole moment grace, because how I respond to it was my awareness of myself. And as my awareness grows of myself, or as your awareness grows of yourself, you're gonna perceive things differently. And that's the big thing. That's the big gift from all of it, is that you're able to perceive things differently. And it's not like better or worse. It's like you're able to move differently through these situations, as opposed to letting them entirely determine your emotional status and your balance and all these other things. But that's what I got for you in this video of how to not let the outside world determine how you're going to be, determine your emotional state, determine your physical state. So, and also get down to the nit and grit of projection. We can do a whole series on that. Matter of fact, we will do that, just not right now. But thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you got something of value from it. If you have any examples of like emotional projection, or just stories that where somebody did that, please put them in the comments below, because projection is one of those sneaky things where we're like, yes, I was very right in saying and doing that, when in reality it was like, or was that just total projection? Think about it. I hope to hear from y'all in the comment section, respond to you. I'm getting back to people quicker. Got back to some people from 4 months ago when they were like, hey, what was this? So yeah, we'll see you in the comments. See you in the next video. Thanks for tuning in.